21, the key idea here is that this loop is traversing an array of strings, and it will find the element in that array which is the smallest element to the right of the current element. And that element will be placed into a new array in the current position. Kind of a strange thing to want to be able to do, but let's see if we can trace through this and figure out what is going on. So this is the array that they've given us, first day of spring. So we begin by that array gets passed in as a parameter, and we begin by instantiating this new array, which is the same length as the current one and is also a string array. That's what will be returned. So this method is returning an array of strings, the same length as the parameter array. Now, the idea of this outside loop is this loop is going to traverse the whole of the parameter array. A new string object will be instantiated. That represents the element in the current position in the parameter array. So for example, that first element will be the one in the 0th position. So Sm will begin as first. Then the idea of this inside loop is the inside loop will traverse the entire array that comes after the current one. So in the example given, k will start off with as 0 plus 1, which is 1. So k begins in the first first element position with day. You then take the length of rk. Rk is equal to 3 because the length of day is equal to 3. Sm dot length, well, we already said Sm was first, that is 5. This Boolean is true now. So Sm is reassigned as the value of Rk. In other words, Sm now becomes day. On the next iteration of the inside loop, K is going to become 2. And in the second index position, we have of. So it takes the element in the second index position and compares it to Sm. Well, Sm is currently day. This Boolean is going to be true again because Rk is 2. Rk.length is 2. Sm.length is 3. The Boolean is true. So Sm is reassigned as of. So now Sm is equal to of. Then the next comparison is the length of with the length of spring. Clearly, of is shorter than spring, so the Boolean this time is false. So that after the inside loop runs, Sm is going to be put into the new array that we created called result. So the new array begins with of. Then the outside loop will increment and j becomes 1. The inside loop will then begin from 2. And we're going to carry out the same comparison. Basically, we're going to start with Sm being day, and we're going to compare the elements that come after it one at a time to the length of day. If they're shorter than day, then day will be replaced with that element. So there'll be one swap here. So of will be swapped with day because of is the shortest element to the right of day. And the next element in that array becomes of. Then the outside loop will increment again, and Sm will become of. The only comparison this time is of with spring. Clearly, of is the shortest of those two, so the next element is of. And then the final, these will be, well, Sm is just spring. There's nothing to the right of it at all. So clearly, if you only have an array with one element, if you only have one element to compare with itself, then it's going to be the shortest element, and that will leave us with this as our final array.